Cleveland icon LeBron James happy with Deshaun Watson arriving in Cleveland. You know, we thought Baker Mayfield was going to maybe be the heir to LeBron James, and then I remember when they traded for Odell Beckham Jr., I thought Cleveland's not big enough for both of these guys, and now they're both going to be gone. Baker Mayfield, as of yesterday, requested to be traded. The team said no. After I slept on it last night, Myles, I came to the conclusion that they were either baiting him into doing something that would cause the fan base to be upset with him and not blame the team for the Baker Mayfield relationship imploding, or they were just trying very clumsily to convince people that they were going to keep Baker Mayfield in order to preserve some trade value. Now it doesn't matter. They clearly are getting rid of Baker Mayfield. No one will believe it if they say, for example, well, Deshaun may be suspended, so we want to have Baker for the 6 games of the season. And I guess they could do that if they really want to get nuts. They could keep Baker around for the first 6 games of the season, if that's the length of the suspension, and then trade him at the deadline. They could do that if they wanted to. Crazier things have happened, but Baker wants out. And he has told the Browns he'd like to be traded to the Indianapolis Colts, who aren't looking to spend a ton of money on a quarterback, but it would only take $18.8 million to get Baker Mayfield for 1 year, Myles.
Oh, yeah, we're talking about, not spending a ton on a quarterback. 18 whatever million is not a ton on a quarterback when Deshaun Watson's getting like 46 mil average annual value. So, I mean, the thing about Baker Mayfield is we don't know if the Colts are really interested in him. And especially if we're talking about a situation where they just got rid of Carson Wentz, who, to use the, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air analogy that we used last week, right? If it's one family member, they kick him out of the house. So then he goes with another family member and they're like, nah, man, you got to get out of here too. So go to somebody you don't know, right? Where we're hearing reported issues on leadership and recklessness and all this and that. Let's remind you a lot of what we're hearing about Baker Mayfield out of Cleveland, leadership issues, recklessness, doesn't take care of the football well enough, all these different kinds of things. I don't know if I'm the Indianapolis Colts, if that's the guy that I want to go after to be my quarterback for next year and maybe beyond. It's just, I don't know that that's the right fit for him and if he thinks it's the right fit for him, that's one thing, but I don't know that that's the right fit for the Colts and what they want to do.
Well, and speaking of the Fresh Prince, and it does have sitcom potential. Jim Irsay would be Uncle Phil, and Baker Mayfield would be Will. And I mean, really, think about those two personalities. Think about that, though. Think about that.
That's interesting.
Jim Irsay, maybe it's the Odd Couple, I don't know, but Jim Irsay and Baker Mayfield together, wow. Wow. And I agree with the idea that when you move on from Carson Wentz, who did have some personality traits that caused him to rub people the wrong way, and we know that Baker Mayfield rubbed a lot of people in Cleveland the wrong way, I think that it is a concern. And if not Indianapolis, I don't know where it goes. I continue to be very intrigued by the Lions. And I hope that at the end of the day, the Lions are the place where Baker Mayfield ends up. I think it's the perfect place for him. I think he's the perfect quarterback for them. And I can't discern a clear fit that works for both sides like that one.
Oh, but you also still have teams that need quarterbacks. I mean, even though the Saints are apparently going to get back after Jameis Winston, I mean, the Panthers are still without a guy who can actually deliver passes with any amount of accuracy because they've got see and go Sam Darnold there for him. So I don't know if you still want to have the first pick of the draft and the third pick of the 2018 draft on your roster, both on 5th-year options. But the Panthers need somebody because the merry-go-round is starting to stop spinning. And if they don't get Garoppolo, right, if they don't get somebody, then they're going to be SOL, and they've got to go out there and start Sam Darnold again. And if you're Matt Rule, do you really want to do that? When your football future, your NFL future, I guess I should say, your coaching future is hinging on that guy? And frankly, we got to talk about the Panthers a little bit because they pursued Deshaun Watson for over a year, right? And they still were left at the altar. They didn't even get to the final two, the alleged final two. And those two teams that were allegedly the final two are in their division. So I don't know what they're going to do, but they clearly need a quarterback. And, if I'm the Carolina Panthers, that I would at least be interested in seeing what it might take for Baker Mayfield.
It's amazing to think that they could end up, at least temporarily, with the first and third overall picks in the 2018 draft at identical salaries of $18.8 million, fully guaranteed for 2022. Hey, you want a reality show? How about that? Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold, let them compete. The winner gets to stay. But either way, they both get paid. Either way, they're both getting $18.8 million. So, look, I could see the Panthers doing it. I don't know about the Saints. Reportedly, they're pivoting back to Jameis Winston, and they have Taysom Hill under contract, obviously. The Seahawks would make some sense. I've seen some people pushing that idea. I just think the Lions make the absolute most sense. And if you take on Baker Mayfield, you have to accept the fact that he's got the potential to be a pain in the ass, because I think he was a major pain in the ass for the Browns. We saw flashes of it publicly, and whatever you see publicly, there's a hell of a lot more than that privately. But there are coaches out there who also think that they can cure a guy, they can fix a guy, they can get the best out of a guy while coaching him away from the things that make him undesirable. I just think they're going to have a hard time. The reason that they are moving on from him is going to be one of the reasons why other teams aren't going to want him. The market is not going to be as robust as Baker Mayfield or the Browns think. I'm not suggesting they're going to have to do a Brock Osweiler hot potato trade where they have to give up a pick to get someone to take on the contract, but they're not going to get some huge trade package, especially not now that they have Deshaun Watson. And it really would be, if they've configured this contract for Deshaun Watson where it only has a $1 million base salary this year, it's got a low cap number this year, I guess they could keep Baker Mayfield around for a while. But that, again, for the same reason that Deshaun Watson needs to settle these cases and have a clean slate, the Browns need to end all business and have a clean slate too. You can't keep Baker Mayfield around. And I'm kind of waiting now for the story that the Browns plan to keep Baker Mayfield because of the possibility that Deshaun Watson is going to be suspended. And it's only $18.8 million. And that's not all that expensive as backup quarterbacks go. I could see that coming at some point over the weekend.
Who's going to believe that? I'm not going to believe that. You're not going to believe that. The 31 other teams in the NFL should not believe that, especially because Case Keenum is still on the roster today. So they had to give him, I think it's a $1 million roster bonus for being there. So you already have your backup plan for if and when, maybe when and if, I don't know, Deshaun Watson is going to be suspended. All right, so Case Keenum can go out there and he can play for you, and you already know that. If you only get a 4 and a 5 for Baker Mayfield, you only get a 4 and a 5 for Baker Mayfield, and that's what it is. But frankly, I think that you could get a couple threes for him, maybe less now that we all know that he's got to get out of there. But like I said, I would rather have Baker Mayfield than Carson Wentz. You kidding me? I think that Baker Mayfield at least has a little more ability, and we've seen a little bit less of the reckless stuff. Well, as I say that out loud, maybe I don't know if that's actually true. Who would you rather have, Baker Mayfield or Carson Wentz, Mike? Yeah, I got to think about it. This is actually a good question. I don't know either.
Yeah. Here's why. And I wish I could tell you who I've been texting with, multitasking, just trying to get some information about this. But here's an observation that I have to share from a source who needs anonymity. But okay. Here's a good point, and I'm paraphrasing. Baker Mayfield needs to be humbled. Getting cut by the Browns would help humble him. Getting traded for something like a 7th or a 6th round pick would humble him. If the Browns get a 2nd-round pick or something, anything where he can walk into the next team not humbled, because Carson Wentz has been humbled. So to answer your question, I would take a humbled Carson Wentz over a not humbled Baker Mayfield. How's that for an answer?
Has Carson Wentz been humbled, though?
Yes.
Has he?
Yes.
We really think that? Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Well, based on the jacket he wore yesterday, yes, I'd say he's been humbled. He's either been humbled or he's had his eyes removed.
Well, I think that I would think the opposite, that based on the jacket he wore yesterday, he hasn't been humbled enough. And that shirt combo, whatever that was.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.